The success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it, because together we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, you've just been listening in to former President Donald Trump, not just yet the president-elect. He is on the verge of victory here after winning Pennsylvania, giving a speech to his supporters there almost 3 o'clock in the morning in West Palm Beach, Florida, joined by his family, staff, and supporters that were very close to his campaign, thanking all of them. Of course, the former First Lady also there and by his side. But talking about how tomorrow, when he wakes up, he will be looking at 315 electoral votes, and also talking about how he won the popular vote.
You know, after voters reject you once, they almost never change their minds. In all of U.S. history, losing presidential candidates have run again about a dozen times. Only 3 of those renominations were successful, and only 1 since 1892. No matter how fiery the disagreements, and they have been fiery, elections are a time for citizens to settle their differences at the ballot box. And it appears that America has spoken tonight. And again, history has been made. The former president speaking again to his supporters. There's House Speaker Mike Johnson, a trove of supporters in West Palm Beach. Again, we have not heard from Vice President Kamala Harris. She had a member of her campaign address her supporters in Washington, D.C. They were anticipating hearing from the vice president tonight. She indicated to them a couple of hours ago that they would not hear from her tonight, and that they would instead hear from her tomorrow. So we have not heard from the vice president tonight, and will not hear from the vice president tonight. Trump wrapping up his speech here in West Palm Beach.
And just a handful of states yet to call the races for either Harris or Donald Trump. But the pathway to the 270 electoral votes to win the White House have pretty much been determined now with the win of the 19 electoral votes from Pennsylvania. And so by tomorrow, we could be saying President-elect Trump is going to the White House.
With a clear picture of that electoral map, Samantha Cortese, she's been with us all night working the numbers and the colors on the big map. Sam?
Yes, let's take a look at the AP map here. This is AP data showing former President Trump with 267 electoral votes, Vice President Harris with 224. You may be wondering, I thought Pennsylvania was the 270 for Trump. Nah, we're waiting on this 3 here from Alaska before that becomes official. The Associated Press still has not called the race for former President Trump, but in every swing state with 91% reporting, for example, Wisconsin, Donald Trump is leading. In Nevada, Donald Trump is leading with 80% reporting. In Michigan, Donald Trump is leading with 77% precincts reporting. Same story in Arizona. So right now, in every swing state, the former president looks like he will take a victory, except there is so much to count as far as these populated counties. Maricopa, I've been refreshing up here to see if there's any update from Maricopa County in Arizona. It looks like Vice President Harris is leading there by about, 25,000 votes. So Arizona and Nevada may swing either direction, but unless something changes and Alaska goes to Harris, it does look like former President Trump will be taking 270 plus by tomorrow morning.
All right, Sam, thank you. And this election also deciding on the balance of power in the House and the Senate. Republicans now officially taking control of the Senate.
KTLA Sandra Mitchell joins us live from the newsroom with more on those numbers and a look at some of the local House races. Sandra.
Well, a big night for Republicans tonight. We can report that Republicans have taken control of the Senate from Democrats, and it appears they will maintain control of the House as well with a bigger majority now. Control of Congress was at stake tonight. Republicans have flipped 2 seats in the Senate, 3 seats in the House. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest numbers. In the House, Republicans now with 191 seats, Democrats with 169. To the Senate side, Republicans again have gained control of the Senate tonight with 51 seats for Republicans, 41 for Democrats. And some of the key local House races, District 27, boy, these races are close. 50% for the Republican incumbent Mike Garcia, 50% for George Whitesides. Again, that's the Palmdale, Lancaster, Santa Clarita area. To District 41 we go, the majority of the area in the Inland Empire, Riverside County, but Palm Springs recently added to this area. Republican incumbent Ken Calvert appears to be losing 48 to 52% to the Democrat Will Rollins. To District 45, Orange County, big communities there in Westminster, Garden Grove, the Asian population, and Republican incumbent Michelle Steele slightly ahead right now, 51% over her challenger, Derek Tran. Finally, a look at House race District 47, and this, of course, the seat vacated by Katie Porter. She did not seek re-election. Again, a very close race there in House District 47. Scott Bell, the Republican, 51% with a slight lead over the Democrat Dave Min with 49%. Again, it appears Republicans flipping seats in Congress tonight and will now have control of the House and the Senate. Live in the newsroom, I'm Sandra Mitchell. Mike and Cher, back to you.
Sandra, thank you.